Elon Musk runs 6 companies. MrBeast runs 4. Jensen Huang has around 60 people reporting straight to him, and he takes zero one-to-one meetings. But almost everything you have been told about how people like this work is wrong, including the part you are most sure is true. They don't have more discipline than you, not even a little. They have each just quietly removed one decision from their day that you make 100 times without noticing. And once you see it, productivity stops being about doing more. It flips. It becomes about deciding less. By the end of this, you will know the one move all 8 of them share. And I will hand you a single question that finds exactly where your own week is leaking. Do this right, and you stop forcing yourself through every day. Your week starts running itself. Okay, before I get into all 8 of them, real quick, if you are new here, hi, sorry, I'm Parag. The short version is I have started a few companies, sold one to Paytm, got into Y Combinator with another, and I'm building again right now. Which mostly means I have tried basically every productivity system that exists. The apps, the journals, the 5 a.m. alarm, all of it. And if you are coming back, genuinely welcome back. Good to have you here again. I'm telling you the founder stuff for one reason. It's not a flex. It's that I tried all of this on myself for years and most of it fell apart by Wednesday. So I went looking for what people who actually run a lot of things do differently. And it surprised me. So here is what kept happening to me. And tell me if this is you too. The problem was never that I didn't know what to do. I knew. I would write it all down the night before, feeling great about myself. And then I would wake up and I would have to decide all over again what actually mattered, what to start with, whether to do the scary important thing or the easy little thing that feels productive. And deciding all of that every single morning is exhausting. Be honest with yourself for a second. By like 11 in the morning, your tank is empty and you haven't actually done one thing that counts. You answered some emails, you felt busy, but the real thing still sitting there. And I don't think that means you are lazy. I really don't. I think you're spending all your fuel on the same decisions every day before you have moved your life forward an inch. That's the cost nobody talks about. It's not time, it's decisions. So the question I got kind of obsessed with is this. The people who clearly get more done in a week than I do in a month, what are they actually doing differently? Is it more hours, more discipline, some app I don't know about? I went and looked closely at 8 of them, and honestly, it was none of that. Now, 3 quick promises so you know what you are staying for. By the end, I'll show you the one move all 8 of them make. Is the opposite of every productivity guru is selling you. And the weird part is, once it's set up, it barely takes any discipline at all. 2, one of these 8 runs more companies than anyone on this list while working fewer hours than you probably did last week. And I will show you exactly how. And 3, at the very end, I will give you a 1 question test to find these leaks in your own week. It took me embarrassingly long to figure out, so I'll just hand it to you. Let's start with the most obvious guy on the planet, Elon Musk. So, you have probably heard that Elon Musk runs his entire life in 5 minutes blocks, schedules every 5 minutes of his day. It's everywhere and it's fake. And the guy who will tell you it's fake, Elon Musk. Somebody posted it online as his big secret, and he replied, and I'm quoting him, I definitely don't do this 5 minute thing. Need to have long, uninterrupted times to think. Can't be creative otherwise. So, that whole productivity blog version of him, just delete it. But okay, sit with his actual problem for a second because it's a real one. One guy, at the peak, 5 or 6 companies, most of us can't keep a single project moving across one week without it quietly sliding off the table. So, if it's not 5 minute slots, how does one person hold SpaceX and Tesla in the same head without both of them falling apart. Here is what he actually did. And it's almost the opposite of micromanaging his minutes. He blocked the whole week by company. Back around 2013, when it was just SpaceX in LA and Tesla up in the Bay Area, his week went like this in his own words. I will be working at SpaceX on Monday. Monday night, I fly to the Bay Area, spend Tuesday and Wednesday at Tesla, then fly back, spend Thursday and Friday at SpaceX, whole days, one company at a time. He decided once where each day goes. So he never wakes up on a Tuesday wondering which company gets him today. That fight is already over. And here is the part that actually surprised me. You would assume a guy running that many companies spends his days drowning in meetings and email, right? He says the opposite. Around 80% of his time goes to engineering and design, the actual building. So he didn't just block his week by company, he pre decided that most of his hours go to the work itself, not the inbox. The inbox doesn't get to vote because the calendar already answered. So, what do you do with that? Two things. One, stop scheduling your day by the hour and start blocking it by area. Give a whole morning to one part of your life and stop ping ponging between these things. Two, decide ahead of time what your best hours are actually for and guard them before the little stuff floods in and eats them. The point is, you are not waking up and deciding what deserves you. You decided that once on purpose. So that's a guy controlling his week down to the day. You would think, okay, the lesson is control. Take control of your calendar, except the next person did the exact opposite. Gave up control completely. 60 people reporting to him, and he won't sit in a single meeting with any of them. So one of these two has to be wrong, right? Watch. Jensen Huang runs Nvidia, one of the most valuable companies on earth. And the way he runs, it would honestly get a normal manager fired. He's got around 60 people reporting directly to him. 60. Most CEOs have like 7 or 8 and they are stressed. And he does no one-to-one meetings. None. Zero. And your gut reaction is probably the right one. That sounds like chaos. 60 people, no private check-ins. Nobody's getting managed. Stuff is gonna fall through the cracks everywhere. So how is this the way one of the best run companies in the world operates? Because he swapped the meetings for something better. Listen to how he puts it. I don't do 101s and almost everything I say to everybody all the time. I don't believe there's any information I operate on that only one or two people should hear. Instead, for years, his people send him a short email. They call it the top 5 things, just 5 bullets. What are you working on? What you're noticing out there? And he reads around 100 of these a day, Sunday nights included. And here is the bit that made me go, oh, that's clever. His reason. I'm looking to detect the weak signals. It's easy to pick up the strong signal. I want to intercept them when they are weak. Think about what that quietly kills. Most managers burn their whole week deciding who to meet and what to talk about. And by the time any real news reaches them, it's been smoothed over by 3 layers of people trying to sound fine. He deleted the meeting and let the raw, messy signal come straight to him, while the problem is still small and cheap to fix. He even gives feedback out in the open on purpose. His line on that is great. Feedback is learning. For what reason are you the only person who should learn this? So steal the top 5. Seriously, this one is easy. Once a week, even just to yourself, write down the 5 things actually on your mind. The 5 things that are nagging you. No meeting, no format. You will catch the small problems while they are still small. He decided once how information gets to him, and now he just never has to decide it again. So, Elon controls every day. Jensen refuses to manage at all. Completely opposites. But hang on, because the third guy is gonna start making this contradiction look like it's on purpose. He built one of the biggest companies on earth, but trying to make as few decisions as humanly possible. Jeff Bezos built Amazon while basically bragging that he makes almost no decisions. He said out loud, as a senior executive, you get paid to make a small number of high quality decisions. If I make 3 good decisions a day, that's enough. 3, that's his bar. Now look at your day next to that. You're making hundreds of tiny calls before lunch. And the big ones, the ones that matter. You sit on for days because you're scared of getting them wrong. And that fear has a name, decision fatigue. It's the reason you freeze on choices that honestly don't even deserve that much of you. So Bezos built himself one rule for handling decisions, and it's so simple, it's almost annoying. Some decisions are one-way doors. You walk through and you cannot come back, irreversible. Those you slow down for, you're careful. But most decisions, they are two-way doors. You can walk right back through, reversible. So just decide fast and stop agonizing. And he won't wait around for certainty either. Most decisions, he says, should be made with around 70% of the information you wish you had. If you wait for 90, you are being slow. And here is how you know he actually lives this. The detail people skip right over. He guards his brain like it's a limited resource because it is. Hard decisions only happen before lunch. He literally said, by 5 p.m., I'm like, I can't think about this today. Let's try again tomorrow at 10. 8 hours of sleep, non negotiable. So he decided one time how to sort his decisions and when to make them. And now, in the moment, there is no wrestling. He just goes, which door is this? And the rule answers for him. 2 things you can lift from him starting today. On anything reversible, decide at 70% and move on. And stop making big decisions when you're fried. You don't need his fancy 10 a.m. ritual. You just need to stop deciding important things at 11 p.m. when you're tired and little sad. Okay, so everybody so far still touches a calendar in some way. The next guy threw his straight in the bin, and he's the one I teased at the start, running more than anyone here, while somehow working fewer hours than you did last week. Naval Ravikant. Alright, here is a sentence that sounds completely insane if you are a busy person. One of the most successful investors of the last 20 years keeps an almost empty calendar on purpose. Picture your week for a second. It's back to back, right? Every slot owned by somebody else's request. And you get to the end of the day totally wiped, and you genuinely can't point to one thing that moved your life forward. That's most ambitious people. Full calendar, empty progress. It feels productive and it's quietly killing your actual work. Naval Ravikant just flips it. He wrote a whole thing called the unscheduled life. And it starts like this. Start by saying no to everything. I don't have a calendar. He says the most meetings he will take in a day is one because that's all he can remember. And he refuses to schedule the rest of his life away. So now, picture that version of your week, most of it open, spent on the 1 or 2 things that actually compound. And this is the one I promised you, by the way. He's not outworking you on hours. A lot of weeks he's working fewer than you. Because the bridge between that empty calendar and getting more done isn't working less. It's a word he says constantly, leverage. He aims his time at things you build one time that keep paying you forever. Code, writing, media. His line is wealth is assets that earn while you sleep. So the empty calendar isn't him being lazy. It's him refusing to trade his hours for stuff that stops the second he stops. So he's got room to build the stuff that doesn't. So here's your move. Find one thing you redo every single week. The same answer you keep typing out. The same little task you keep doing by hand and build it once. A doc, a template, a recording, a tiny bit of automation. Decide it one time and then let it work for you while you are asleep. Now stop and notice something weird. Elon blocks every day of his week. Naval refuses to put anything on his. Total opposites. And I am about to tell you they are doing the exact same thing. And the next person, the one a lot of you literally grew up watching, is gonna make it impossible to miss. Mr. Beast, YouTube, Feastables, the whole empire. And there's this leaked internal document his company uses to train new people. It's called How to Succeed in Mr. Beast Production. And it's basically his brain printed out. So here's the trap most of us fall into. You make the thing first, and then you panic about how to get anyone to actually care about it. You build, then you scramble to sell. And the work just kind of disappears into the void because nobody clicked. That's the default way. It's also why most good stuff goes unseen. He does it backwards. Every single video starts with the title and thumbnail before they shoot one frame. And the doc has this perfect example. It says, I spent 50 hours in my front yard. Is lame. You wouldn't click it. But I spent 50 hours in ketchup. You would click that. Same amount of effort. Completely different promise. So they log the promise first and then they go build a video that actually earns it. The mission line in the doc is blunt. Your goal is to make the best YouTube videos possible, not the best produced videos. And the second thing in there is what actually lets him scale, and it connects right back to Bezos. He is obsessive about writing things down. In his company, a message doesn't even count as communicated until the other person confirms they read it. Everything that works gets documented, so nobody ever has to figure it out twice. Remember, Bezos had his decision rule in his head. Mr. Beast turned his rules into a document that 2,000 employees can run on without him in the room. So, before your next project, whatever it is, write the title first, the headline, the promise, the outcome, and if you can't make it land in one line, that's a sign the work underneath it isn't pointed at anything yet. And whenever you solve something, write the solution down. Future you should never have to refigure out what past you had already cracked. By now, you might be thinking, okay, the answer is just be obsessed, go harder. No, because the next one runs on the calmest, smallest rule on this whole list. And it literally fits in a paper notebook. Sam Altman. It's 11 p.m. You are scrolling instead of sleeping, half working, half guilty, telling yourself that tomorrow you're gonna lock in for real. And then tomorrow shows up. And that motivation you were banking on, it's just not there. You ever lived that exact night? I have lived it 100 times. And here is why it keeps happening. And it's kind of brutal once you see it. You're asking the most tired, most anxious version of you to decide what matters and then force himself to do it. Morning you running on fumes gets a vote on your entire life, and morning you almost always votes for the easy thing. So this was never really a willpower problem. It's a design problem. You built a system that depends on you being strong at your weakest moment. Sam Altman, who ran Y Combinator and now runs OpenAI, his fix is almost insultingly simple. He decides what matters when his head is clear, writes it on paper, and then the paper decides, not his mood, his exact words. I prefer lists written down on paper. I don't bother with categorization or trying to size tasks. The most I do is put a star next to really important items. And he rewrites the list constantly. which forces him to keep throwing out the stuff that doesn't matter. But the deeper thing isn't even the lists, it's what he chooses to put on it. He says it doesn't matter how fast you move if it's in a worthless direction. He thinks picking the right thing is the most important part of being productive, and the part literally everyone ignores. So he's ruthless about saying no. And the relief in all of this isn't doing more. It's that tired morning you doesn't get a vote anymore. The list already won the argument last night. And he points out it compounds too. If you get 10% more done and 1% better every day, the compounded difference is massive. So tonight, write down tomorrow's three things on paper while you are calm. And then tomorrow, don't reopen it. Don't renegotiate. Just do the paper. You're literally taking the vote away from the tired version of you on purpose in advance. Two left, and the next one isn't even a founder, which is exactly why she nails the point. She turned this one single idea into a brand worth billions. Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift does not usually show up on a productivity video. She should. She runs one of the biggest businesses in all of music, and she puts out work at a pace that honestly should be impossible without completely burning out. Think about how many decisions live inside just one album: the sound, the colors, the visuals, the merch, the music videos, the fonts, even. Thousands of tiny choices. And if you made every one of those from scratch, you would drown before you finished a single record. Never mind a brand new one every couple of years. So she doesn't make them from scratch. She works in eras. Each album is one full, complete identity. Folklore was all muted and woodsy and cottagecore. Reputation was black and snakes and sharp. Lover was soft pastels. And this isn't just an aesthetic thing, by the way. It's a registered business. She has filed over 300 trademarks through her own company to lock each era down as actual property. And here is the reframe, and I'll be honest with you, this part is my read, not something she has said. She is not just an artist who happens to be organized. She runs identity like an operating system. She makes one big decision up front, the era, and then 1,000 smaller decisions just answer themselves. The question stops being what should this be and turns into does this fit the era? And she ran the same play on ownership. When her early recordings got sold out from under her, she went and re recorded all of them. So she would own her own work. Her words: I want my music to live on, but only if I own it. One principle decided once, applied to everything. So here is what you take from her: pick a theme for the next stretch of your life or your work, one word, one direction for the quarter, and then run your choices through it. Does that fit my theme? That one question quietly kills 100 little debates before they even start. You stop deciding everything from zero. Okay, last one. And it's the most extreme version of this whole idea on the list. Because for this guy, breaking the rule actually costs him physically. And he's also the second person tonight that the internet has turned into a total myth. So let me clear that one up for you. Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo is still playing at the very top of a young man's sport in his 40s while also running businesses on the side. And you have almost definitely heard that he sleeps in 5 short naps a day. The polyphasic sleep thing. It's repeated everywhere as his big secret. One problem, it's not true. His own sleep coach, a guy named Nick Little Hills literally called that story fake news. So the real question is what he actually does, because the real version is the part you can actually use. He doesn't chase 8 hours in one block. He goes after sleep in 90-minute cycles, around five of them. And he measures it across the whole week instead of stressing about any single night. And the one thing the entire system hangs on, the non negotiable, is a fixed wake up time. The coach's rule is great. If you plan to get up at 7, you must get up at 7. You cannot compromise. Same deal with food. Around 6 meals a day. Lean protein, no alcohol, no soft drinks. And here's the move underneath all of it. Most of us wake up and negotiate with ourselves every single morning. Do I train today? Can I sleep in? Do I eat clean or not? Ronaldo killed that negotiation years ago. The wake time is fixed, the meals are fixed. There is nothing to argue about because the rule already won before he even opened his eyes. And I'll be fair with you, his sleep and his diet aren't some proven magic reason he lasts this long. Genetics matter, training matters, but it's a documented real part of how he holds the whole thing together this long. So pick your one keystone, the single input that everything else depends on. For most of us, it's sleep. Set a fixed wake up time and protect it like it's a contract you already signed, not a goal you renew every night and break up by Thursday, a rule you simply stopped voting on. So that's eight people. Calendars and no calendars, 60 meetings and zero meetings, a pop star, a footballer, four founders who would flat out argue with each other if you put them in a room. On the surface, eight totally different systems. So, which one are you supposed to copy? And this is exactly where I was wrong. Maybe you are too. I went into this trying to find the best system and just copy it, but you can't. They contradict each other on purpose. One lives by his daily calendar, one threw his clock out the window. You physically cannot run all eight, so it was never about the system. The thing underneath is identical in every single one of them. They each made a decision one time in advance and then they stopped making it. Elon decided where his week goes, so he never decides which company today. Naval decided no meetings, so he never has to weigh one. Altman's paper list decided, so his mood doesn't get a vote. Ronaldo's wake up time was set years ago, so his body never gets to argue. Different rule, exact same move. And once you see it, I promise you cannot unsee it in any of them. Now, remember that one question test I promised you way back at the start? Here it is. Anything you decide more than once is a leak. That's it. That's the whole test. So, go run your week through it. If you are deciding every morning what to work on first, that's a leak. Close it with a list you wrote the night before. If you decide every day whether to train, that's a leak. Close it with a fixed time. If you decide each week which meetings to take, that's a leak. Close it with a rule. Because here is the real thing. The thing I wish someone had just told me years ago. The most productive people on earth do not have more willpower than you. They just install their willpower ahead of time, so they never have to summon it in the moment. Discipline is what you need when a decision is still open and you are dragging yourself across it. They close that decision. So there is nothing left to force. Productivity was never an addition problem, it's subtraction. And not subtracting tasks, subtracting decisions. You decide once, you write the rule, and then you obey the rule. Instead of redeciding your entire life every 24 hours. So that's the move. All eight of them running it under eight different costumes. decide once, then get out of your own way. And look, the obvious next question is, okay, that's great for Elon Musk, but what does this actually look like for a normal person? That's the next video. I promised myself I would actually show you the real stack I run my own days on, the rules I have closed, the ones that completely broken me, what's still standing. So if you want the practical half of this, the build it yourself half, follow along so you can catch it. And before you go, I'm genuinely curious, out of all eight, which one surprised you the most? Because the one that hit me hardest honestly wasn't the one I expected going in. Tell me, I read them.